Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Head. This week we actually have a guest, David Weiss. He is the host of the Flat Earth podcast. He also is a believer, if you will, a big advocate, and has an application and takes pride in really teaching people on the matter. So we kind of dive into him. So check it out, guys. All right, everybody, here is another Tales from the Head episode. Today we got our special guest, Dave, Flat Earth Dave, as he goes, David Weiss here, and it's Weiss, right?
Weiss like nice.
There we go, and I'm glad I got the pronunciation right. He's a Flat Earth believer. I don't want to just say believer, or maybe ambassador would be a better way of putting it. But he definitely knows his stuff. We wanted to have him dive in, give us a kind of an introduction as well of what's going on and how his brain works with this whole subject.
Well, my brain actually works because you have to work your brain to understand where we live rather than just believe what we're told as kids. Real quick, excuse me. We're told, we're led to believe that the flat earth is a disc floating in space. That's what the mainstream science pundits, which I call the scientism pundits, want you to think flat earth is. No flat earther thinks that we're a pancake floating in space. Okay. Or that with round ball planets, or even other pancake planets. The other thing that most ballers, you guys are ballers, by the way.
Yes.
They don't know is the actual heliocentric system. We're spinning, orbiting, chasing the sun, and moving sideways. We're moving in 4 different directions at once at unfathomable speeds, traveling billions of miles every year. And then somehow, if you go out tonight and look at the stars, next year, same night, same time, those stars are all in the same position, even though we've traveled billions of miles. Weird.
Yeah.
Strange, right?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that is weird is constellations do move in the sky, or at least that's what they look like they do. They change position based on what we assume is the rotation, right?
Well, they do, but they reset every year to the exact same position.
Oh, it's on a year.
Yeah, the
cycle.
sky is a perfect clock. Let me show you my app, and it'll kind of give you an idea of how things work, and then we can get into some other things. You ready?
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect.
Is that on the screen? Nice.
Yeah, that looks great.
So the flat earth isn't a disc in space. It's a pond on a greater plane. So think of the earth system as the basement of the universe. And we live in a giant lake. And in that lake, there's islands, what we call continents. They're all surrounded by water, but all of that water needs a container, and that container is the shoreline, which is higher than the water. That shoreline is Antarctica. Antarctica isn't an island at the bottom of a ball. It's the shoreline that surrounds the world pond, holding in all of the water. So when you look up in the sky, it's a perfect clock. The sun goes around once every 24 hours, so it keeps track of the hours and the days. You can see right there, caught up to the moon. It laps the moon once every 28 days. So the moon position and phase keep track of the weeks and the moons. There used to be 13 moons of 28 days, but they changed it to 12 months and gave us 31, 30, 28. They're messing with our body clocks. On top of that, you guys were talking about the stars a moment ago. The stars circle around fixed in a wheel, and they're going slightly faster than the sun. Okay, so right now, the sun is near the end of Pisces. Next month, Aries is going to catch up to the sun, and the sun will be in Aries for the month. And then Taurus will catch up to the sun, and it'll be in Taurus for a month. Next year, same night, same time, you look up in the sky, and every star will be in the exact same place it was this year. And in 10 years, and 10 years ago, and in 100 years, they never change. But meanwhile, we're spiraling through space. Makes no sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So real quick, and then we'll get out of the app. The app has the what they've employed online is they've made it so hard to find real good flat earth information. You could search for like top videos, uh, Flat Earth 21 Questions by ODD Reality, and it won't come up, even though you typed in the channel name and the video. It'll give you all propaganda.
Right.
What the app does is it brings you all of that stuff every day. There's a new featured video. You tap this thumbnail, bam, new featured video. And I have a challenge for people: one proof of the globe, and I'll give you a Bitcoin. But before you send it to me, you have to hit the question mark, and up come playlists of all the questions you're going to have. Hey, what about eclipses? What about gravity?
Oh, okay.
What about ships over the horizon? Right? If I hit ships over the horizon, up come a playlist of videos that YouTube will not serve you.
Right.
And this is stuff you can all verify yourself. I did it myself. When I first started seeing this, I'm like, wait a minute, that can't be right.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a super zoom camera, went down to the beach. I'm like, oh my God, there's no curvature. I mean, the earth is a big place, but there is curvature if it's 24,901 miles around. The app does a ton of other things. It has tons of other information about our history and all sorts of stuff. And it shows you how a compass works. North is at the center. East and whoops, did it just go away?
Well, that makes sense.
All right, it went away. That's right. We can jump out of that.
I kind of know what you're saying, though. North is the center because the Arctic is the center, and the Antarctic was the edge, right? That you were saying, which we assume is the south.
The Arctic, words have meaning. The Arctic is an arc around you. The Antarctic is an arc away from you.
Mm-hmm.
It goes away. If you're in the Arctic, the sun is coming around you. If you're in the Antarctic, the sun is going away from you. It goes away, an antarc. Okay?
Yeah.
There's videos in it. But getting back to the compasses, this is how it works. There's a magnetic mountain or a magnetic force. We believe it's a mountain at the north. And if you put a compass down, the needle will point towards the magnet. But if you try to push that compass east or west, you have to keep turning to maintain that heading. So you can leave New York heading 90 degrees east and end up back in New York because you're making a circle. That doesn't prove the earth is flat because it works on a ball also. It works on a flat earth and a ball earth. East and west are circles. North and south are straight lines, right? But every straight line, no matter what direction it's going in, ends up being south, right? If you leave New York heading north, as soon as you pass the North Pole, you're heading south and you hit Antarctica. If you leave California heading west and don't keep turning to the right, you're heading south and you hit Antarctica. Every straight line leads to Antarctica. Crazy, right?
So I was researching it, and one thing I noticed someone mentioned against that idea is the fact that planes rely on altitude, and altitude's normally basing an equidistant. It's equidistant from your altitude is equidistant from you and the surface. So if it is spherical, your altitude would curve as if it was following a curve of
on
a
a ball,
plane.
you'd have to keep nosing down. After a mile, you'd be 30 miles higher in the sky. You have to nose down 2 miles on average every 2 minutes, a mile every 2 minutes, because 30 miles after an hour, when are you going to go down? You'll be at 80,000 feet inside of, an hour.
Yeah.
That's it. That's insane. So, and also flight routes, right? If you want to go the shortest route from Santiago to Australia, or you can just fly around Antarctica instead of over it, that would be the shortest route. But planes go all the way up to the north, all the way across. When they want to go to the west side of Australia, they go all the way over to Europe and Dubai, then they go down. And if you look at that western trip on a flat earth, it goes straight line up across Europe, Dubai, and West Australia. Airplanes, words again, airplane, sea level. Good.
Wouldn't that also take longer though? Because it
Sure.
is.
So there used to not be direct flights, but there are direct flights now. And they'll say the direct flight's going to take you 8 hours, but it shows up 15 hours. Like what, how did you gain that much extra time? Often they cancel those flights, but they are. We actually had Max Eigen get on a plane and we live streamed, making sure that he was on the plane. We tracked the plane and everything. And it did show up late, But those planes, I think they only have 2 of them. There's only a couple of pilots that are allowed to fly them. They're military pilots. And the research we did on the plane, they have 7 layers of heat resistant paint. Why would an airplane have heat resistant paint? Because it's going faster than they're telling us. So maybe these planes are flying 1,000 miles an hour. The sound barrier is not a barrier. There is something that happens when you hit the speed of sound. Sound all bunches up, and then it makes a boom for the people outside. The people on the plane would never hear the boom because it's behind them. Okay. So an airplane going 1,000 miles an hour or 500 miles an hour, you'd never know the difference unless you could see the land below you, and you can't. They're flying at 45,000 feet, those planes. And there's also, the upper level winds are amazing up there, and they make perfect circles instead of the crazy sine wave that they teach us in school.
Right.
So here's the winds at, is that showing?
Yeah, it's showing.
Oh, there it is. Wait, it was, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me try one more thing real quick, and then.
Oh, technology! You gotta love it.
Yeah. Well, come back. All right. Well, that's just I have a bad cord. That's all. No big deal. But the winds circle around in the upper level at 200-300 miles an hour. So you got a plane that maybe just goes 700 miles an hour, and you get those tailwinds, and you're in business.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, because even with spherical, that's the thing about it is like I don't even know if people scientifically understand what they believe in anyway, let alone trying to take in something else that's different is a lot too, But I try and keep an open mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is, people that believe in the globe just believe because they were told. But when we go over everything, I say, do you still believe you live on a globe? They're like, well, yeah. But I say, can you give me one reason? And they say, well, I can't. And that's kind of weird to me. Like, you can't come up with one reason that you live on a globe.
Besides, it's what they've been telling me all my life or something.
I mean, that's true. Like, that's a good point. A lot of people are cocky to denounce other people. And then they don't even have their own belief system in order.
Right.
Hey, Dave, really quickly. So this app, where can people find it or something? Just in case you want to get more information on that.
Yeah, the app is available on Apple. Well, you have to have an iPhone 6 or better. And it's also available on Google Play. You have to have operating system 8.0 or higher. Awesome. And if you're looking at this, you can just point your camera right there. It'll show right up.
Perfect.
I'll give you guys a link. You can put it on, and it's $2.99. I'm not in this for the money. This is the way to find flat Earth information. Okay, you can spend 500 hours online, and if you have the endurance, you'll probably show up and get maybe 5 hours worth of useful stuff. You spend 5 hours on the app, you get 10 hours worth of useful stuff.
You're taking the red pill.
Okay.
No,
it is the red pill. And if you're not unsure, a lot of people, I don't buy apps. Just read the reviews. Okay. Just remember, it's by Blue Water Bay. Look for this little icon.
Okay.
There's some knockoffs up there that are different. So
that's good to know. And that's
where you want to go from here. Listen, the flat Earth. The last thing is the globe has a huge advantage over flat Earth. You can just believe it.
Yeah,
that's it. Once you believe, I don't know if I told you, but I live in Connecticut. So my question is to you, where do I live?
Yeah, I guess. Well, you would still be.
Do you have any proof?
No, because we'll base it off your word, whatever you told us.
Right. So we believe all of the stuff NASA tells us, but I can show you NASA lying 1,000 times. Video of them screwing up, videos of them hanging from wires on the space station, to CGI issues. Right. You only have to see one to know they're liars.
That's true.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
And that's the thing. I feel like with all that stuff, I could probably do an hour and a half with you, probably, just because there's some stuff I'm with you on. There's some stuff that for sure is a little gray for me, but I'm definitely not all in. Like, I question a lot of stuff. Like the fact, I think the one
number
thing,
one.
What's
I'm sorry,
my? No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what would be your number one reason you think the Earth is a globe?
The number one reason I think it's a globe
Yeah.
I mean, besides, I mean, the one main answer it's not just that I believe it because it's been told to me, even though that's a pretty good reason, and that's kind of, it is a lot of the driving, but I do believe it's more of a globe because, well, if we look at that map too, so my argument against that map, the flat map, is that it could just be a skewed view of just the Earth looking at the Arctic.
It could
because everything does look similar to how it would look flat if it was skewed on a sphere in a flat picture. But that doesn't, like I said, I can't prove that. I don't have a satellite in space. But
what one thing that proves it is emergency plane landings. Emergency plane landings. This is a flight from Taiwan to California, and it's flying out here. Here's Hawaii. They had an emergency right here. Somebody was having a baby or had a heart attack, and they had to land. If you're the pilot, where are you going to land?
Was that Midway Island right there?
Yeah, well, right here is the Hawaiian chain. So probably land in Hawaii, right? Maybe go all the way here. But why would you go all the way up thousands of miles out of the way to Alaska? And the answer is because it works on a flat Earth map. Taiwan, emergency, Alaska.
Well, where was the plane leaving from again? Where'd you say?
Taiwan.
And then you said it had to do an emergency in Alaska.
When it said they were right near Hawaii, which is out here, okay, and it landed in Alaska.
But wait, so they were going from Taiwan to LA? You said?
Yeah, to LAX.
Taiwan to LAX, right?
But even if the Earth was curved, I mean, because you said the flight paths kind of follow that way anyway, so that kind of actually makes sense for an emergency landing.
They actually said that the flight path showed them over the middle of the ocean. They showed them over Hawaii.
But why would they do that? Just to, I mean, I guess no. I guess technically you're right because I guess if you would go that way if you believe it's spherical, right?
Yeah.
Right, and the Santiago, Australia trip, they show on the seat back where you supposedly are, but we had a guy on the plane with a compass, and the compass readings weren't matching what the seat back was, and we're like, these are weird compass readings. You know, they should have been going south, but they're going north. They were going northwest, and then it was going west, and then it was going southwest, and we're like, and then we plotted it out where he was and what the compass readings were. It makes perfect sense on a flat Earth map.
Yeah.
Again.
Was the compass on the plane or was the compass on you?
He had an electronic compass and a physical compass. And they were both matching up.
Oh, okay.
But the seat back was showing the map on the seat back was showing something completely different.
Because I wonder
if we had timestamps, so we figured out where they were proportionally on the plane, and it made perfect sense on a flat Earth. And the app, what about Southern flights? There's a whole bunch of videos that you won't find online. They're online, but you won't find them. They're shadow banned, but the app will bring you to them.
Perfect. Well, that's cool.
That's
a lot of information, and that's a good place to check stuff out. I'm definitely gonna throw that link on there, and then it's nice to have your QR for our listeners and viewers as well.
Yeah.
But let's just kind of dive into our Q&A. We kind of wanted to learn a little more about you, Dave.
Sure thing.
When did you discover or decide you were gonna believe, or do you believe that the Earth is flat?
I did not decide. Nobody wakes up and says, hey, I want to be a flat earther and lose respect of all my friends and family and fight with people all day long and have trolls follow me to every video. Like this video, there will be trolls. The globe strikes back and whatever. These channel, and they'll comment on everyone's comment saying nothing of any substance other than just nonsense. And then you go to their channel, they have zero content on their channel. I call those comprehensive globe proof channels. And So I didn't decide that. I was doing a conspiracy podcast, open-minded, looking at stuff, looking at the world, willing to admit we've been fooled. And then people started sending me flat Earth stuff, and I was like, delete, stop bothering me. You're banned from our social media. You're too stupid for me even to have to delete you. Okay. And then finally another researcher said, Dave, I think the Earth might be flat. And I was like, not you too. And I was like, that's it. I went into it not to see the truth. I went into it to disprove flat Earth and prove the globe and be done with this. And that's how you become a flat earther. So once you see it, it's literally like Morpheus giving you the red pill or the blue pill. Some people like, I don't want the red pill. You take that red pill, there's no unseeing it. Once you see it, you're unplugged from the matrix, and your mind comes out of that prison, and you now see the world for what it is, and you free your mind. And that the analogy I use is Morpheus is Neo in the Matrix. In the beginning, his soul knows the truth, his brain is trapped in the matrix, and he's depressed. And then when he unplugs from the matrix, spiritually, metaphorically, or physically, who knows, he finds out who he is, where he is, what he is, and the power of his mind. And that's what they don't want us to know.
Yeah, it's easier to have somebody control believing something than showing them the truth. Because to quote the great, I was going to call him Nicolas Cage, but I'm wrong. Jack Nicholson, you can handle truth sometimes, So
there you go.
I feel like it is better to have people like we're seeing here in the picture in the dark than lining them up. Because if you prove this wrong, if you show somebody the truth, then they start questioning other things like, okay, well, what else is, I've been told my whole life, like what else might be false?
If you knew there was a wall, a fence around you, and you're not allowed to go beyond that fence, what would you want to do?
No, of course.
Go beyond the fence,
go around
right?
The fence.
So the best prison is a prison without walls, and that prison is the ball. But what if the Earth was laid out like this, right? And we're living here. This is Antarctica. And then there's other territory out here, other worlds out here, right? And then other ones out here, another sun and another moon, right? And all of this stuff makes a lot more sense than the helio-nonsensical system.
Beyond the ice wall.
So beyond the ice wall, check this out. Beyond is the outer space, right? And there's extra more land, territory, extra terra. So what comes from extra terra? If
extraterrestrial,
visit, they would be an extraterrestrial from outer space.
That's actually one of the questions I had for you that was on our email list. So this is cool because I let you talk and didn't interrupt you, and you were able to cover about half our questions. It's like you know what you're doing.
Questions, my friend. There's only 10 questions. You want me to do a Karnak and tell you what your next question is going to be?
No, actually, Danny, you want to take the next one? I think you got a good one.
Yeah, I have a question. So what keeps you motivated to keep on advocating for this cause? What is it like? I'm going to keep on pushing. Like what is it that really drives you for
Good
it?
question. So here's the thing. I'm an American guy. I was born in the East Coast. I'm still here, and I'm looking. I want to, make money and have the American dream, right? The American dream. You have to be asleep to have it. And I worked for corporate America, and then I started my own company. I never thought I could have my own company, but I put on my vision board, I want to be the CEO of my own company. Next thing I know, I have a company with a couple partners, and I'm doing the books. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the friggin' CEO, right? And then I didn't want to do the numbers anymore, and my other partner took over the numbers. I'm like, life is amazing. Then I was making more money than I could ever thought I would make, making very well. And the flat Earth, I was doing my podcast, and I realized how important this message is. People are like, what difference does the shape of the Earth make? And the answer is, it doesn't make any difference. Okay. But this is the most important message of our time, because if we ever get our freedom back, how long can we keep it if we're lost in space, spinning out of control, not knowing who we are? Because somebody else will know the story of this world and how it works. So something just came to me and said, David, walk away from it all, which is the most insane thing. I walk away from everything that beyond my dreams that I had. And I walked away. I went home that night, and I had to pay my bills, and I went to pay my bills, and I just gotten a deposit from the app from the monthly, sales. And it was just enough to cover my bills. And I was like, that's a sign. Right. And then I asked for another sign. Man, I got signs up the wazoo. I just said, all right, I'm doing this. I walked away. And then a month later, this COVID lockdown thing happened. And thank God I walked away, right? Because the whole thing would, the company's still up and running, but during this, I cannot function out there. I don't wear a mask, if you guys didn't know. So I won't wear a mask anywhere. And that wouldn't go over so well. So here I am. What's motivating me? My kids' future. We're heading into a major time of darkness. If people don't wake up, and there's no time left.
I'm definitely with you on that. I like I'm on the same plane. I just don't know what's going on, but I know there's definitely foul play.
Absolutely.
It's hard for me to like throw that out there just on a vague scale because I feel like I'll be crucified. So it's tough, man. It's tough to be someone who's a free thinker nowadays, which is like another reason why when you reached out to me, I got excited because I'm not a flat Earth. I wouldn't say I'm an enthusiast because I don't know enough to say you're an idiot. Just like I don't know enough to say the person who's been telling me for my whole life it's this way because they don't know 100% either.
Right.
I just like to hear how people, how they click and how they're like how they tick. It's like
different perspectives are always interesting. Also.
Exactly.
So here's the thing. It's the people that believe in the globe, and you guys are willing to admit it. You don't know about it. You've just believed it, and you haven't really looked into it. Because if you do look, it's gonna go. You're gonna find out that you don't live on a spinning ball. What is this Earth? Do we have an accurate map? 100%? I don't think so. I mean, we're just new at this stuff, and a lot of stuff's hidden. So it's I'm the luckiest guy in the world right now because one, I love this topic. Everyone that gets into it just loves it. It literally it resonates with your soul, right?
Mhm.
And then, a lot of people have jobs that they hate. Well, you're spending your whole life doing something you hate for money, right? Well, I don't do this for money. I do this for the love of this, and I'm able to sell the app, which actually helps people wake up. Just read the reviews in the App Store. Read the reviews. I read if I'm ever depressed, which I never am. Read the reviews. It's amazing what people say. So I'm selling something that's supporting me, that's helping people, that's helping free the world. I couldn't be happier.
And Dave, you said something that it kind of struck me because I was literally just talking to kids about this today. Walking away from like a quote unquote comfortable life and then doing something as you're doing it because it's something you love and it doesn't even feel like work because you're doing something you love. I literally just I was just telling this to my students today, like, because, I'm a counselor. So I'm a high school counselor teaching them about, thinking about their future and what they want to do post high school. And I was like, you know what, you guys have to do something that you love, not because it was expected of you, not because you have to go and because somebody told you this is what the key to happiness. You have to do whatever you want to do for happiness. So you saying that, just a trip. I'm like, yeah, I like it. I may not agree with everything you say, but at the end of the day, you cannot put a price on happiness, man, and your own well-being.
And the thing is, belief is the enemy of knowing. Your beliefs create your world. Your thoughts create your reality. Everything in your life is because of the way you thought. Everything that's happening in your life is because of the way you think. Everything, every person that you obey is only because you have a belief in your mind. Authority is just a belief in your mind. It's like money. The only value dollar bills have is how well they can light a fire with them as kindling, right? There's no value other than somebody will say, hey, for that $7, I'll give you a sandwich. Okay.
Right.
So then there's perceived value, but that's going to go away too. So, this whole thing that's going on in the world is all about belief. They can't take away our God-given free will. They don't want us to know that we're at the center of creation. They want us to think that we're spinning out of control, lost in space, and we're on an insignificant rock flying with trillions of other rocks, and we could be taken out by another rock hitting us. And
Right.
they want us in fear, insignificant, not knowing that we are at the center of creation and that we have God-given free will. And there's only a couple rules that we have to follow. Don't kill anybody. Don't steal from anybody. Don't interfere with their free will, and help your neighbor. That's it. If everybody knew that, then the elite, we are the many, they are the nothing.
No, and it is for people like us. We say like what's like common sense stuff, like don't kill, don't steal. But you'd be surprised how much how the world works and how people understand. That's just like basic human common knowledge. But I mean, just decent human common knowledge.
When you live in fear, right? Think what the elite want us to be in fear of. An asteroid could hit us. A nuclear bomb could take us out from a crazy dictator, which is all untrue. We're running out of oil, right? Dinosaur juice, supposedly. We're running out of food. There's global warming. We're going to go underwater. what else? Electricity prices.
The
We don't
sun's
have
gonna
enough.
burn out.
The sun's going to burn out. A solar flare is going to take us out.
Yeah.
And terrorists are going to take us out. All of that is fake. All of it, right? All of it's fake. And when you're living in fear, you are less of a giving, caring person. It takes some of that away and makes you more selfish and not willing to, help somebody with your last piece of whatever.
Right.
Oh,
So
that's great. That's great to
interesting
take
stuff,
home
man.
from all this, dude, and especially since you gave us a really good, not like annoyingly dense and overwhelmed look into the subject, but you also gave us some insight on, who you are, how you deal, and your mantra that's really not far off of ours, but I don't think, like you said, beliefs, you got to treat them like, like your house, the inside of your house. You don't get mad at other people's for their inside of their house looking different than yours. And I feel like people kind of need to get on with this whole thing of if our beliefs are different, it's okay as well.
Here's the thing. You can do anything you want as long as it doesn't break those rules I had earlier.
Right.
Right. I don't care what you do as long as it doesn't interfere with anyone else's free will.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They can't do anything to us unless we agree, but they tell us what they're doing in their tricky way.
Yeah.
And then we don't notice and we don't say no. Therefore, we're tacitly saying yes. That's how this world works.
It is healthy
how many people
to say
did
no.
George Bush kill? 0. He convinced order followers to kill other order followers.
Right.
Right. If I convinced Daniel to kill you, Ryan, that's on him, not on me.
Well, actually, it'd be conspiracy to murder. So Charles Manson went down for that.
Well,
so
Charles Manson.
And that Charles, that's another conspiracy, Charles Manson. So
yeah.
Creepy crawl, dude. No, but no, I definitely think, if you're down, if we could reach out to you the same way to have future talks or anything like that, is that how that would work, Dave?
Yeah. Love it. Do you guys do live shows where you take calls or anything like that, or no?
Not yet, but we're working on that.
We're working on that.
Right now, I'm kind of just doing this since it's Zoom. It's kind of weird since everyone's kind of remote, which is kind of cool for you because you're remote anyway. But I definitely eventually want to go down that route because I think it would be really cool and interactive, especially with you.
I'm doing a fun thing a week from tomorrow. Which is, what is that, the 19th or whatever it is? A week from tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 12th plus 7, that's the 19th. Look at me. Look at me doing the math.
Hey, I know math. Yay.
I'm doing a Zoom call where I'm going to take 100 people and I'm going to do my what we call a flat smacking, where or having flat earthers bring their resistant family members and friends that think flat earth is stupid. I'm offering a Bitcoin for one proof of the globe. So people come on and they can ask questions. They can type their questions. They could raise their hand, speak their question, and I will answer all questions.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, if somebody can give one proof of the globe, I give a Bitcoin.
Dude, that's the genius thing about this subject because it's so controversial. Like, do you even need to pay for ads? Like, people are just ready to fling shit, right? They're just ready. But which is no noise is bad noise, right?
Yeah. In my app, I have 6. You can call them sponsor buttons. One of them is T-shirts that I make, that I design, and I don't do it for the money. I do it because people are like, you know what? I don't want to say anything, but I'll wear a T-shirt. And if somebody asks me a question, it'll spark a conversation. So people love the T-shirts, right? I have a link to yummy.doctor, who's Amanda Vollmer, who is the most outspoken, amazing naturopath ever, talking about what's going on in the world today. And she can replace all doctors of the world. And that's kind of an insult to her because what she does is way over allopathic medicine. And so I have a link to her store. I get nothing from it other than satisfaction that I know people are finding the stuff that I am enjoying. If you click that, it's the Flat Earth package. It's the stuff my wife and I enjoy. I have, what else do I have on there? I have a link to the conference that's coming up. We have a Flat Earth conference on the 27th of March in South Carolina. And I get nothing from that other than more people at the conference to talk to.
Right.
And what else do I have in there? Oh, and I like these CBD products that help me sleep. And buy them there, buy them yourself, buy them from a different company. I don't care. I just want people to know about them. So,
you know what's funny though? With you're saying this, like I don't get a single dime and like wearing a shirt. I'm over here smirking. I can see Coop over here smirking because we both grew up listening to like punk rock and metal music and pissing people off. Like,
Yeah.
so you saying this like you just want to do it just not to piss people off, but just to kind of like send the message out there and promote.
It's rebellious. It's not rebellious, but it is rebellious. You're just doing your thing.
Yeah, so I can 100% respect that. You know, even like we said, like we might not agree everything like 100%, but hey, who am I
here's
to
something
say
I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every year I make this hot sauce, this mango hot sauce that's unbelievable. Best hot sauce in the world, if I do say so myself.
Mango. You ever say mangoes, I'm in.
Yeah, it's mango hot sauce. It's all organic. It's amazing. And I made 180 bottles last year, and I'm almost out. And I won't sell it. I give it away, or I'll trade you for it. Right? You know, like I bring it to the conference, I give it to people. I won't sell it for money because it's not worth it to me. But if somebody wants to trade me something, that trade is such a energetic exchange. It makes you feel so good, right? And it's just like, hey, this person, you know, knitted this or made this or grew this or whatever, and we trade, and it's such an uplifting experience, right? Money, you know, unfortunately in this world we need money to transact, but we need to get away from that. Start trading with your friends and associates. It's amazing.
No, 100%.
Keeping it old school, or back to the roots, if you will.
And you're looking out for each other. It's a good way to keep community strong. I feel like we're definitely moving in a direction to almost absolve community and just reaching to a point where we're all wally fat people that can't eat pizza because we don't move anymore. So, you know, I mean, that's a problem. But like you said, if we're out moving and talking to our neighbors and trading around, you know, I'm
doing 20 plus interviews a week. This week, I think I did close to 30.
Jeez.
But if you notice, I'm standing, right?
Dude, that's awesome. Good for you, man. You can't be sitting all day.
I like if I did them sitting, I'd be dead.
Oh, yeah.
Standing, it's easy.
Yeah, the sciatic.
It's so easy.
Yeah, you can't mess with that sciatic nerve, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good, Dave. I think this is a great start to a relationship that we look forward to keeping going. And I feel like we got a lot more to learn, and I definitely think we could do some conspiracy episodes with you. That would be a lot of fun.
Where does this air, on YouTube?
Yeah, we're going to throw this on YouTube on Monday.
All right.
And I'll definitely give you the link, and I'll plug you up for sure. Kind of like what I did before.
Yeah. No, the reason that's one reason I was asking, but the other one is,
I'll
can't talk about conspiracies that much. You know, this one's fine.
Oh,
you can't talk about some of the other stuff on
the
YouTube.
YouTubes. They'll pull you.
Yeah, we'd have to talk very Bluebird about it, like, hey, that New York event or that Connecticut event.
We could do that.
Right.
Kind of make it like speakeasy style.
Yeah, we can do it.
Tongue in cheek.
Modern Bluebird.
We'll learn sign language just so we can have a full-on conversation with it.
Hell yeah, Dave. It was good meeting you, man.
Just don't go like this or like this, because then they'll just attack you. They're like, oh my God, Satan, they're Illuminati.
Well, yeah, the Satan thing we're probably okay with because we already like heavy metal and that's well established, so we might get away with this.
Yeah,
we could plead ignorance.
Metal. That's
yeah, and I go like this a lot. This is supposedly 666.
Oh, okay? Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's 1, 2, 3.
Gang sign. It's also like, dude, it's so many things.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Coop used to know how to throw 666 on his hands. So I don't think he.
I tell us one of the stories I tell about when I'm talking about the apparent position of the sun. I tell a story where I'm in Vegas and the sun was setting. It was late in the afternoon. I say it was around 3:30, and everyone's like, "Can you make it a different time? Because 33:30 is 33."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I never even thought about that. So now I got to say 3:45, but I'm lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers are a big deal with some people.
Well, numbers and signs, symbols, and numbers rule the world.
Yeah.
And once you start seeing that, you guys got to check out RV Truth, the letter RV Truth channel. And he does these long live streams and short video, not too short, but he breaks down stuff, the signs, symbols, and numbers, and the gematria of it all. Mind-blowing stuff. I used to laugh at it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, wow.
No, it's funny you say people are like crazy with numbers. I'll let you go right now. But I remember going In and Out. Very, it's a California thing with In and Out. And I ordered number 1.
In and Out burger.
Yeah,
should say.
In-N-Out Burger or number one, the Double Double. And In-N-Out is very like they're owned by Christians. So like underneath their cups and stuff, there's like John 3:16. I remember ordering number one after taxes and everything, it came out to $6.66.
Oh boy.
And then the lady removed a penny so it could be $1.65. And I'm like, she just kept the $6.
Hey, at least she didn't add a penny, dude. You know, she could have
That's
been
true.
real.
That would have been mad. But yeah, it's just so like I'm like, what is like? Oh, it's because people get freaked out when it's like 666. I'm like,
Yeah, the first Apple computer was $666.
You know what, dude? I
kind of wish they were still $666.
Yeah, exactly. Well, can they go back to worshiping Satan publicly? I need to save money. No, dude, but for sure. Thanks for your time, Dave. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, Ryan, Daniel, thanks.
All right,
thanks for your time.
Take care, man. Bye. All right, guys, there you have it. That was David Weiss with the Flat Earth Podcast and flatearthpodcast.com. We're going to be plugging all that stuff in the links below as well as probably on the screen. But how do you feel, Danny? How do you feel about it?
I mean, it's definitely interesting. I always find this kind of material like very interesting. Anything that challenges what you believe and stuff. I always found that super interesting. So yeah, I liked it. He seems like a really chill guy. He obviously he's ready. He knows he's been getting a bunch of shit for it all his, while he's been doing this.
Right.
Definitely has a thick skin, but yeah, it's very interesting. And just like I was telling Dave, I'm like I want to go check out the the app, for what he said was like $2.99 or $3.
Yeah, $2.99 I think he said. The
Dude,
Google Play or Apple.
That's like, and I'm not trying to promote them or anything like that. We're not getting sponsored, but I'm like, dude, that's less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
like Starbucks. So I mean, hell, why not? And it's something interesting, like I said, and it's something that, just as a person who's a visual person, seeing like the app, seeing the colors, and seeing all of that, like for me, that was like that's just super cool. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out. And I don't know what you feel about it, Coop.
I'm happy, dude. It's how it went down exactly how I wanted it to, not how I knew it would go down because I didn't. But it went down the optimistic way, which is very good because now there's a future for us to talk more with this guy. Really look into like what we're like. I mean, I'm not changing my belief system, and I'm not expecting anyone to change theirs. But that's like, we want to learn. There's a lot of things we deal with that we don't know the answers to. I like broadening my horizons, and like you said, man, like it's good to hear things and learn more about things. And it doesn't mean you're changing your beliefs. It just means you're learning more things. And when you learn things, it doesn't mean you learn something. That doesn't mean it necessarily is a truth to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really, when he busted out that map, I was like, look, dude, it looks like the top of a globe. But then when he kind of explained that other map that showed, because that was what I was going to ask him. I'm like, well, how do you explain space? How do you're telling me we don't have space? Are you telling me it's like, but it was interesting how he said that it's just like, we're just on this plane and it's just more and more like things. But, the one thing I do find interesting is even though, they claim that the Earth's not spherical. You ever notice the boundaries still on their maps are spherical?
They're still kind of
they're still circular. Yeah. It's like, why are they that way if it's not shaped that way? Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, why is Antarctica shaped like a circle if it's not on a globe? The only reason we look at things in a circular way or that skewed way is because we assume it's presented on a globe.
Because that's how.
But if it's flat, why are we still using that format? Wouldn't it be something completely different altogether?
Yeah. Well, this is definitely
it's pretty deep,
questions.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like
questions to
right.
Definitely bring back. And I mean, you kind of been hinting at this for a while that you want to kick back, you want to bring back the Stoop Kid again.
Yeah.
And which is actually let me plug it in right
there. There you go. There she blows. That's a nice looking one.
Yeah. All right, you can start by listening to episode 13, which I believe I was the guest for that one.
Lucky
I'm not
13. There's the number again. We're talking numbers today, people. And Danny,
Hey,
what's with that? You got the 666 at In and Out. You got the 13 with me.
Yeah, I want to say it's number 13. I'm not sure though.
Well, I got to double check because that's a damn good number. I mean,
yeah,
depending on how you
want
feel.
that number. I want that number.
It's
Anyways,
good.
But yeah, and I think it'll be a great. You've been kind of hinting that you want to start Stoop Kid again, so that'd be kind of cool to have him as one of your guests there. And
yeah, have him in the bullpen.
Yeah,
I agree, dude. Because I mean, I kind of was going that route last year, along with all the subject matter when I was doing the solos, and I was gonna bring back the Stoop kind of as my interview platform. We made an exception this time, everybody, just because we definitely the interview, as you can tell, is definitely pertained. The subject matter was his subject matter, but we did our interview process was more focusing on him and his psyche while he has this belief system. So. This is no way, shape, or form any kind of TED talk for Flat Earth. It's more or less him giving an introduction of himself and him and us just picking his brain on the social aspect of it all.
And I think the most interesting part is, all right, cool. This is where you be living. Cool. But I think this is an excellent platform and a definite example of how to just talk to people you might not share or have the same common belief or anything. Like, sure, we always talk about being inclusive and like open to everybody. Well, this is a great example. Like, he came in thinking, oh, okay, it's gonna be a bunch of guys giving me shit for what I believe.
Yeah, probably.
And here I am, I'm gonna have to like defend myself and prove, and then we're like, oh shit, here comes somebody who's gonna like, who doesn't believe the same thing we believe or we've been taught, and he's gonna try to shove it down our throat. But at the end of the day, it's just like, no, we're just three humans having a conversation, and
and
and I think that's that's just, I wish more people were like that. I'm not saying we're like prime examples of how to be citizens of the world, but this is just prime example of how people can come in together and just have a conversation, and you don't have to be on each other's throat or anything.
That's the theme of this week, guys, is having wholesome conversations with no predetermined bias or just that negativity. Like, go into a conversation like with an open mind. And this is a task for everybody. Go and have a conversation just with the fact, just to have the conversation. Don't have these like internal dialogues playing like, what am I going to say next? No, you're overthinking. Just try and have an organic conversation with somebody and talk about something. And you'd be surprised how different things can be, and how it shouldn't be so insulting or alarming that it's not your way of thinking. It should be more insightful and interesting.
And you know what, Coop? I think it goes with like just the way we've been programmed. We've been programmed that, here living in the United States, especially here in California, like we have to be in a hurry. Like everything needs to be planned out, like every single second. You always got to think about your next move and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really just by having that, it's just like, all right, let's just go, let's just hang out. Like, of course, it makes you feel uncomfortable because one, you're always thinking, oh, this other person's trying to screw me over. But at the end of the day, it's just so like, it relieves the stress of just going with the flow. And I know people claim to go with the flow and, they're very open and all this stuff, but are they really going with the flow? And I think this was a good, I feel like we're so taught to live in structure that when we step away from that structure, it either it messes with our heads, which create, mental issues, or B, it kind of like gives you it gives you, you take the red pill, it gives you a new perspective of how to do things, how to look at things differently.
Yeah. I mean, take things with a grain of salt sometimes, but that doesn't mean that grain of salt isn't adding up to something eventually. Like, I like doing that. I learn about things that are different, religions, people's beliefs, because I feel like the mystery to the universe is really borrowing from everything. And I think the only way to really figure things out is to kind of look into it all. And I think a lot of people are scared of that. They're scared to see that they might find something that might disprove what they've been believing or what they've been told is true their whole lives, which
Yeah.
I'm all about the red pill, dude. Like, I like ignorance sometimes. Ignorance is bliss. Sometimes I just want to be happy and pretend I'm living a happy life. But then, like he said, he knows a lot of stuff, but he's happy, and I think, like, I kind of appreciate and respect that thing about him, because even though he's considered to some probably a very strange guy for his belief system on the earth, morally he's pretty much just as much of a good person as anyone can be. And then it seems like, he definitely has like his mental health in order, as far as like the way he communicated with new people today with us didn't seem, I mean, he was very confident with himself. He was very open-minded to what we asked and talked to him about. No complaints whatsoever. Very flexible. I mean, really nice guy. It's like, once again, it's nice to meet good, wholesome people, and who cares what they believe, as long as they don't want to hurt you or kill you or do anything like that. Let's
Exactly.
talk, man.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why we're here. And at the end of the day, like, it's just that basic communication, just talking that it might seem so easy, but I feel like it's what we need to do more as a society. Is just talk, have actual verbal conversations, not through text, or anything, like actually hear the audio of somebody. It's that basic
Yeah.
interaction that we need, and not to feel so disconnected, um, and blinded by whatever's going on.
Yeah. I mean, we're all the same. We really are. So we need to kind of just be on the same team. Even if we don't play the same position or understand everything, we're on the same team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I agree. It just, let's figure this out together. We're all in this together, and hey, it might be good to pick his brain on what his methods are for maybe just do a whole thing showcasing, if we ever do another one, it could just be like a day in the life of what he does for his Zen
well-being. Yeah.
Like you said, like, how does he unwind doing 30? I mean, that's the other thing. It's like, even if you're a flat earther, you're doing 30 interviews a week, he said?
Week? Yeah.
That's a shit ton.
20, 30 a week.
Yeah. That's a lot. So you're going to have something to do. Like, I want to pick his brain. Like, what are your vices?
Yeah.
Do you drink? What do you do? Do you opium? Like, what do you do to calm the... Yeah. You got to do something, right? Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. I'm glad we developed a wholesome relationship with someone. It was an organic conversation. That's what we always want. And I think, one step at a time, we're informing people, we're broadening their horizons, we're broadening ours, and that's the whole point of this is, we're all just trying to improve ourselves. Yeah. So let's do it together.
Yeah, and I definitely admire that I've definitely admired his braveness of stepping away from his comfortable life to doing this whatever is different, and being happy and finding satisfaction, and not dreading his work or whatever it is he's doing, because that's what creates so much stress and anxiety and stuff. It's just doing something that you don't like, and being afraid of stepping away from your comfort zone,
right?
Being afraid to try this new thing and really see if how far you can take it. So it's funny that this interview fell right when I'm going, like I said, when we were talking to or David, about what I was teaching in school. I'm teaching my students right now, like, what to things to think about after high school, like what's their life goals, what makes, do a career that makes them happy, for themselves. Literally this morning, we were just seeing a video and a stat that was thrown out that you're most likely to have a heart attack on Mondays between the hours of 8 and 9 a.m. And the reason for that is because people are going, are driving or going to work at places, at jobs that they hate and they dread, but they feel like they're slave there because of whatever. And it's that fear of, like, doing things that really makes you happy, and not just putting stuff away, like, oh, well, once I do this, then I'll be happy. Once I do that, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
No, like, not wait for happiness in the future. Like, make your own happiness. And at the end of the day, David, like, thanks for coming in. And dude, you seem like you're a happy dude, and you even said that you're a happy dude. And dude, that's everything that we thrive for in this podcast and as a society.
Oh, dude, 100%. And you can find him at the Flat Earth Podcast. That's also flatearthpodcast.com. That's where I would go, flatearthpodcast.com. We're going to link it. It has a link for his app that's in Google and the Apple app.
Yeah.
But it's going to be easier to find on there. So we're going to link it all there. Once again, if you have any questions, we were really happy. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to much of the emailed questions. We did get a lot. I'm pretty happy about that. So thank you guys for doing that. Yeah, until next week. We already do have a subject laid out for next week. Can you believe that? We're a week ahead of schedule.
Look at that.
So we're going to be firing on all cannons next week as well. So we'll see you later, guys, and thanks for tuning in.